armed militias reportedly on the rise, driven by xenophobia and racism, but also by fear of government itself.
I think what the government gives, the government can take away.
Even for those not driven to pick up arms, the anger seems palpable in America.
I called all Trump supporters racist.
They're calling us racist because we voted for Trump? Come on, give me a break. They started the war. I see him, I'm gonna shoot him. Why?
We started a war.
Canada get ready for the next American Civil War. Does he really think it's come to that?
Congratulations today, the honorees, including your wife, who I understand is a birthday today? Well, look, my wife has a rule in her family. When somebody's birthday, you sing happy birthday. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Valen. Happy birthday to you. Well, it's hell turning 30, but you got to.
Who keeps on giving this man a microphone? Happy birthday, dear. I can't remember the name. Guy's a goofy guy. Guy's a goofy guy. He forgot the name. I hate when that happens, you know. Jeez. But anyways, welcome to another episode of A Couple of Hoosiers podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Kurtz.
I'm your co-host, Charlie Goldsmith.
And yeah, we got some stuff to talk about today. You know, gun grabbers are constantly on the move, trying to find new ways to take away our guns.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
True.
I agree, Norm.
True. They took our jobs. They took our guns. Anyways. But yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. Illinois recently passed an assault weapons ban. And then the ATF is doing some really awesome stuff, making me just love that organization even more. I don't like them. I really don't like them. But anyways, let's go ahead and run that ad real quick. That way people know where to find us. Couple of Hoosiers podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, pretty much anywhere that you get your podcast. We live stream on YouTube and upload to Odysee and Rumble. But if you want to get everything all in one place, just go to coupleofhoosiers.com. I write blogs for all the episodes and make some memes every once in a while. Check them out. Also, R&M Kurtz Woodworks. Me and my wife have a little woodworking company, and you can find us there on Facebook just by searching R&M Kurtz Woodworks. Also, down there is our email address. You can get a hold of us like that as well. But yeah, get a hold of us. Do it. Just do it.
Do it.
We'll make something good for you. Also, if you are on the old Facebook, come over here and like and follow us. That way you can stay up to date. Every once in a while, I'll like throw clips on there and stuff like that. But I also like to let people know when we're going live. Here, that's a funny picture that I made. President Poopy Pants. Eventually, I'm gonna get a shirt of that. And I'll probably sell it to people. You know.
I want one.
You'll get one. That was a pretty good episode. If you didn't catch Thursday night's episode, go back and watch it because, you know, the vegans have to be told to shut up because
the vegans need to be stopped.
They do, and I mean like a really pretty much the reason why I really wanted to cover that is because when you look at like the whole like global effort of what's going on, they're really trying to turn like all of our food like into vegan foods with like the artificial meats and like it's a big way that they're going. But what really
they want us to eat bugs.
Yeah, and honestly, that's like a big war between the vegans right now because you got some vegans who look at, you know, the sentience of bugs and they're like, well, we can't eat them, and then other people are like, well, they're just bugs. But anyways also
I'm not eating them either way.
No also go over here to Odysee. We might be doing some streams soon on Odysee because, you know, YouTube tends to ban us when we say naughty things.
Not agendal things.
Piss off, YouTube. Well, let's go ahead and start getting into some stuff. Let's get into it. What do we got to talk about? Oh, hey, check out this article from Fox News. Coffee's contribution to climate change is just the tip of the iceberg. Stop drinking that coffee. Oh, hey, look at this. Not going to do it.
Them beans taste so good, crushed up,
totally
ran into liquid.
Totally worth the changes to the climate. I was going to cover that article a little bit, but I don't want to. I mean, I think the title pretty much says everything that you need to know. I mean, the study was just stupid.
Yeah, it's idiocracy.
True. Now, this really irritated me. I didn't like this at all, and I felt like I needed to say some words about it. On trial, transgender woman raped 2 females with
her penis. That is magical that they put that in wording. Like, now, hopefully, they can read that and see how stupid it really sounds.
And it's from Scottish News, you know, over there in the EU, whatever. They're like really all about like, you know, protecting people's feelings, and I'm like, it's a rapist. Why do we give a shit about protecting a rapist feelings?
A man trying to be a woman raped 2 women in jail is what they should have said.
True, but here
or pretending. We're gonna go back to school. You know, I'm pretend to be a unicorn. Well, I'm pretend to be a woman.
I thought I had something to play.
How dare you!
Sure, we'll go with that. But here, this is kind of similar on the topic. I heard this and just listen. It's weird.
I would encourage the committee to vote no on this amendment for a few reasons: practical, financial, social, emotional. First, there are a lot of schools that are moving towards gender-neutral bathrooms, and if we add female, we might become obsolete very quickly. Second, not all students who menstruate are female. We need to make sure that all students have access to these products. There are obviously less non-female menstruating students, and therefore their usage will be much lower. And that was actually calculated into the cost of this and how much we decided to fund it. And so we do not expect that the non-female menstruating students will use these products as much as the students using female bathrooms, but it's important to have them there. And that brings me to just the social emotional reasons for that. These students who are not female, who menstruate, face a greater stigma and barrier to asking for these products. And so providing them in an easily accessible place in all student bathrooms is particularly important for those students.
Huh? Now, what really confuses me on this is because I know a bit about like what they're talking about when it comes to this gender stuff. I don't really believe in the term gender. I think it was a made up word coined by a sick pedophile, but I don't like it. But she kept on saying non-female, and my understanding was like the whole gender social construct was different from sex, because male and female would be like the sex, and then man and woman would be the gender, and there's supposed to be a difference, but they've been like really blurring that line, and they want to put tampons in men's bathrooms, and they've actually been doing this for a while. I think it was I can't remember the guy's name, but he went on to Bill Maher's show and he was talking about this, and Bill Maher was like, no, they're not doing that.
They're doing that.
But let's find out what our politicians really want to say.
I will never stop standing up for Big Pharma and standing against my constituents.
Thank you.
Ain't that just lovely? Stand up for Big Pharma and stand against your constituents. That's what, they because, I mean, Big Pharma gives them more money than their constituents do. So, I mean, obviously you would stand up for them more than your constituents. Oh, just ridiculous. What's going on in this world? And now,
I would really like to know the bottom line answer to that, but we'll never get one.
No. Demons. But let's look at an accurate description of what the reality of gun control really is. Okay, go ahead, and since we're going to be on the topic and all that. So before gun control, the criminal has a gun, but also the law-abiding citizen has the gun. And then afterwards, oh, look at that. Just saying, I mean, criminals have a tendency not to follow
obey the
laws. Some people, I think, genuinely believe that, like, if we pass more legislation for gun control, that it's going to help, but it doesn't. I mean, how long has the NFA been a thing? Can't have those machine guns. That's been helping.
Sure you can.
But let's take a look at what President Poopy Pants had to say. He said a comment again that is just ridiculous. Let's look at it.
And ban the number of bullets that go in a magazine. There's no need.
There's no need
for any of that. I love my right-wing friends who talk about the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots.
Yes.
If you need to work about taking on the federal government, you need some F-15s. You don't need an AR-15. I'm serious. Think about it.
think about it.
Come on, man.
Like,
I mean, how many push-ups are we gonna do here, pal?
Come on, man. How many push-ups you want to do here, pal?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Me neither. But yeah, I mean, like literally, that's it, he's saying that like if people do like eventually rise up against the government, you know, they got tanks, they got F-15s, they got nukes.
You gotta nuke your own land just to stop.
Exactly. I mean, that's just crazy. And then one more picture. Take a look at this. California farmer charged with 12 felonies after trying to register his guns.
Wow.
What is registering your guns? I don't know that concept. I'm really oblivious to that. I don't know what it means. But I mean that's like a big thing. Like they want to create this gun registration for like everybody. They want to know how many guns you have, how much ammunition they carry, all this stuff. You gotta register it with the government, and obviously, you know, stuff like that can happen.
Well, after seeing that, I don't know how many people's actually going to go register all their guns, man.
I don't have any.
Now you're arresting people for doing what you wanted them to do?
I had a boating accident and I lost all my guns. It was an unfortunate tragedy. I cried a little bit.
I witnessed it. It's true.
It's true. We wouldn't lie. I mean, that's not what a couple of Hoosiers is about. We don't do that. We don't do that. But real quick, I wanted to. There's always these crazy bills that are coming out, and I want to touch on this before we get into like the absolutely ridiculous gun control measures that are happening currently. This is a bill that was brought on by what's her name? Sheila Lee Jackson, I believe that would be, out of Texas. H.R. 61, Leading Against White Supremacy Act of 2023. So not only are they trying to, like, you know, completely remove your right to have a gun and defend yourself, they also, this gets into like freedom of speech, and they're trying to get rid of it because, you know, hate speech. So, to prevent and prosecute white supremacy-inspired hate crime and conspiracy to commit white supremacy-inspired hate crime, and to amend Title 18 United States Code to expand the scope of hate crimes. Jeez. So where was the... Okay, let's read a little bit of this. A person engages in a white supremacy-inspired hate crime when the white supremacy ideology has motivated the planning, development, preparation, or perpetration of actions that constituted a crime or were undertaken in furtherance of activity that, if effectuated, would have constituted a crime. Conspiracy. A conspiracy to engage in white supremacy-inspired hate crime shall be determined to exist between two or more persons engaged in planning, development, preparation, or perpetration of a white supremacy-inspired hate crime, or between two or more persons, at least one of whom is engaged in the planning, development, preparation, and perpetration of a white supremacy-inspired hate crime, and at least one of whom published material advancing white supremacy, white supremacist ideology, antagonism based on replacement theory or hate speech that vilifies or is otherwise directed against any non-white person or group, and such published material.
I've never heard white used so much in an amendment. Or a bill.
So, for example, if it was published on a social media platform or by other means of publication, with the likelihood that it would be viewed by persons who are predisposed to engaging in any action in furtherance of a white supremacy-inspired hate crime, or who are susceptible to being encouraged to engage in actions in furtherance of a white supremacy-inspired hate crime. Could, as determined by a reasonable person, motivate actions by a person predisposed to engaging in a white supremacy-inspired hate crime, or by a person who is susceptible to being encouraged to engage in actions related to a white supremacy-inspired hate crime, and was read, heard, or viewed by a person who engaged in the planning, development, preparation, perpetration of a white supremacy-inspired hate crime. Do you get it?
White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy.
But what really gets me is up here where they're like replacement theory. Let me highlight that. Oh, I can't highlight. Oh, there it goes. Highlight it. You know, because there's a big talk on that. I mean, especially when it comes to like what's happening at the border and like all these people coming in, and like it's not necessarily like I believe most people, there are some people who just think that like there's a big plan to just replace the majority of white people with non-white people. But what most people who talk about the replacement theory is talking about is like the voter base. Like that's what they're mostly talking about. And I mean, you even have people on the left that talk about like there is going to be a replacement happening. I don't know. I thought it was weird. I didn't like it. But it's all
already going on, honestly, with all these people that are shipping into the country. I mean,
but the way that they use like hate speech and then talking about social media platforms and any other means of publications, it gets into some.
I don't like the fact that they keep using white supremacy.
White supremacy.
What does it have to do with white people? Like, you guys are making it impossible to be proud to be white, but it's okay to be proud to be black or Hispanic or, you know, Vietnamese or Korean or whatever. But if you're proud to be white, you're a racist. That's racist.
Can't be doing that. I mean, honestly, I think it's ridiculous to
I don't give a shit. I'm proud to be white. I don't give a shit.
I think it's ridiculous to be proud of like a skin color. I don't care. I mean, I'm white. There's nothing special.
I'm proud of my heritage, you know?
True.
My heritage just so happens to be white.
Yeah, mine is German. I
got a few things mixed in there other than just, you know.
There were some bad things going on.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into gun control. Let's talk about Illinois first. So from blazemedia.com or theblaze.com, and then it's just whatever. I don't care. It's just an interesting article. I don't really care about the company. But sheriffs across Illinois are refusing to enforce state's gun ban, and the Democratic governor responds with a threat. Ooh, look at all them guns.
Wow.
I need a closet like that. Okay, so numerous sheriffs across Illinois are refusing to enforce the state's ban on semi-automatic weapons. You know, almost all weapons are semi-automatic. But whatever. Signed into law by Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker. That's a name. Who threatened those who dared to dissent. The law bans the sale, manufacture, and possession of semi-automatic weapons in the state, leading gun rights advocates to accuse lawmakers of acting unconstitutionally. You think? Some sheriffs responded by saying they will refuse to enforce the law. Part of my duties that I accepted upon being sworn into office was to protect the rights provided to all of us in the Constitution, wrote Sheriff Nicholas M. Pettigoat. The residents of McDonough County? Sure. One of those enumerated rights is the right of the people to keep and bear arms provided under the Second Amendment, he added. Therefore, as the custodian of the jail and chief law enforcement official for McDonough County, that neither myself nor my office will be checking to ensure that lawful gun owners register their weapons with the state, nor will I be arresting or housing law-abiding individuals that have been charged solely with non-compliance of this act. Do not comply. Absolutely not. But I mean, that's I at least
It's
like.
nice to hear that some law enforcement's on our side.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
no doubt. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a couple sheriffs here in Indiana that like think similarly to this, and they wouldn't enforce any sort of law like that. But I mean, it gets to the point where like there's all the people that are like, you know, the thin blue line, we back the blue and all that stuff. And like, there's a lot of cops that will just literally just do their job. You know, if they're told to do something, that's what they're going to do. Not a whole lot of them are going to stand up like this because, you know, they don't want to lose their jobs, you know, doing what's right.
Don't want to lose their jobs. Don't want to be convicted themselves of some kind of crime.
Yeah.
You know, if obstruction of justice, they could probably slap that on them.
No doubt. Okay, so WGN TV reported that 13 sheriffs issued similar proclamations of defiance, including those of the counties Stephenson, Ogle, Lee, Knox, LaSalle, Logan, DeWitt, Kankakee, Grundy, and Winnebago. Some of the names that they come up for these counties. Weird. Pritzker.
I worked for Winnebago years ago.
Winnebago. You were in Illinois? They're saying
No.
Winnebago County in Illinois.
I know, it was a joke.
It was
right over your head.
Hi.
Winnebago is also an RV company in the state of Indiana. And I'm sure they have a few across the nation.
Come on,
but I
man.
used to work for them.
Get a life. In San Francisco, it's all about, well, you know, gay bathhouses, and it's all about round-the-clock sex. It's all
round-the-clock sex.
Degenerates. Okay, there are, of course, people who want to politically grandstand, who want to make a name for themselves by claiming that they will not comply. But the reality is that the state police response will for enforcement, as will all law enforcement all across the state, he said at a media briefing. And they will, in fact, do their job, he added, or they won't be in their job.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I remember reading that.
Yeah, so these commonly owned semi-automatic firearms are used countless times every year to save lives and to deter crime. Yeah, because, I mean, I think the annual death rate for gun violence is like in the tens of thousands, and then like from like FBI crime statistics, like the amount of people that like prevent like a shooting or anything like that are like, or really just like any sort of crime, like gun defense usage is like in the hundreds of thousands, maybe up to the millions. Like,
you know, I seen a video not too long ago, and I loved it because it basically was defending the whole reason why citizens should still be able to carry guns. Okay, and it was this video with this guy. He reminded me of my dad because he was wearing a pair of jean shorts and a tank top. Okay, and this guy in a hoodie come up, and they were just doing regular transactions. I want to say it was a coffee house maybe, and this guy in a hood come up. And he looked around a little bit, and he pulled out a gun, and he put it to the register person, and basically I would assume he was saying, give me all the money in the register or whatnot. The innocent bystander pulled out his gun, put it to the man's head, and shot. And followed him to the ground.
I think I do remember seeing that video.
That dude pulled out a gun and was probably willing to shoot anybody in that store if he had to.
Mm-hmm.
And that man just saved, I don't know how many lives by getting rid of a degenerate's life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Something was wrong in that dude, and he doesn't need to be here. And, you know, people can call me wrong for saying that, but you go to do shit like that. If you die because of it, it's nobody else's fault but yours.
True.
It's not the man holding the gun that stopped the robbery. It's not the cashier's fault. It's the dumbass that decided to go into a public place full of public people and try and rob it.
True.
And got had.
True.
You know, this is why, you know, I don't own guns, you know, and I'm not a big gun advocate, and I would never probably own 1,000 guns.
No guns.
But I don't think our rights should be taken. I don't want my right as an option to get a gun. If I ever want to get a gun, I would like to be able to get one, you know. And
True. I agree.
I don't want to be a fucking sheep in a store waiting for some, you know, piece of shit wolf to come in and shoot me because I'm unable to protect myself. You know?
And speaking of like rights and gun rights, I mean, a lot of people like look towards like the NRA as like this really good defense for our Second Amendment, but they really don't do a lot except for like making like big media publications and stuff like that. But they don't do a lot of like the good fight. These guys right here, though, GOA, Gun Owners of America, they do a lot of really good things. You guys should definitely check them out. I would even say donate money to them. I've donated some money to them. I think they do a really good job. And, like, I like them a hell of a lot better than the NRA. Like, I mean, the NRA is cool, but they're pretty much just, like, name brand when it, it's just, like, yeah, they're just the group that everybody knows, but they don't do a whole lot. They do a whole lot of this, but then they do nothing. Because, I mean, like, the NFA is still a thing, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Well, let's go ahead and we're gonna go back over to this page and check out this video for this whole Illinois thing. I haven't watched it, so I want to see what it's saying.
Dina and Ray, the Illinois Sheriff's Association has said it's opposed to this.
And it probably won't play it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to play it. I think it has something to do with the way that we're doing this, because I have like a virtual camera being sent to Charlie so he can see. So I think that's a big problem with like trying to play. Because like on the last episode, we were trying to play a YouTube video and it just failed just like that. So
maybe if you like whenever you're going to get ready to play the video, pop it up, but wait a little while so maybe it has time to buffer. That could help.
Possibly.
I'm not 100%. I'm not real sure what the issue is, but that could help, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think that it has something to do with the way that like we're doing the broadcast right now, because yeah, like I noticed that after we're done, I have absolutely no problem playing any videos. So, but whatever, we're just gonna jump over to the ATF and see what they're doing. Let's go over here. So CNN politics. Justice Department announces new rule to regulate pistol stabilizing braces. The DOJ. Okay, so from CNN, Attorney General Merrick Garland and Steve Dettelbach, that's a name, the director of the Bureau of Alcohol, legal, tobacco, legal, firearms and explosives, legal, announced new regulations Friday that would subject pistol stabilizing braces to additional regulations, including higher taxes, longer waiting periods, and registration. Like that higher taxes part really bugs me, because I remember it was sometime earlier last year they were trying to introduce a bill that would like put like a tenfold increase in the taxes for AR-15s, making them, because right now you can get like an AR-15 from anywhere between like $600 to like $1,500, and what that would do would like increase that to like $5,000 to $10,000 for one. So that's a way that they're gonna try to like, well, we're not like really encroaching on your rights. We're just it just costs more. It just costs more. But here, gun control proponents argue that stabilizing braces, which can be attached to pistols, effectively transform a pistol into a short-barreled rifle, which are heavily regulated under the National Firearms Act. You know, the NFA that I was talking about. I don't like it. It needs to be repealed. The rule will go into effect as soon as it is published in the Federal Register. The proposal was given new life in 2021 after shooters in Boulder, Colorado and Dayton, Ohio used pistols with stabilizing braces. At the time, Garland unveiled several proposals aimed at curbing gun violence, including re-upping the restriction on pistol braces. Yeah, so I mean, if you don't know, if you don't know what a pistol brace is, it's usually just something that here. Let's go ahead and look up a pistol brace real quick. That way, people understand what this is. Pistol stabilizing brace. Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at this. See if there's like any good images of them. So, like something like that, they have those. So that would be considered a pistol without the stabilizing brace, whatever. Then you got things like that. That's a stabilizing brace. They also look at those. Those are considered stabilizing braces. Like if it comes to your shoulder.
Brace.
Yeah. So effectively, all it does is like help people like be like more accurate with their firearm, and that's a big no-no. They don't want you being successful when like you're shooting, just because there are some like douchebags who decided to go do something stupid and evil. We all get punished.
Yep.
But
guilty by association, apparently.
That's like a big thing with like all these gun control measures that they introduce. It's all just stuff that makes you less effective with your firearms. Like they don't like scopes. They don't like those. They don't like more ammo in your magazines. They don't like that. It's just ridiculous. And then body armor. That one I've never understood. Like it's a defense mechanism. Or not a mechanism, but it's for defense. But let's get back into this article. Okay, almost a century ago, Congress determined that short-barreled rifles must be subject to stricter legal requirements, Garland said Friday during a call with reporters to outline the new rule. Policymakers understood that what we know is still true today. Short-barreled rifles present a deadly combination. Well, I mean, all guns are, deadly. They would kind of be useless if they weren't. But whatever. They are easier to conceal than rifles. Well, so are pistols. I mean, most people carry them concealed, and you never know that they have them.
Yep, till they pull them out and use them.
So when they're using that type of logic, it's like the only thing you can have is a double-barrel shotgun. But don't saw it off, because that's a no-no. Because then you can conceal it, and nobody knows that you have that double-barrel shotgun. They are easier to conceal than rifles, but they are more powerful and lethal than pistols. Oh, so that's why a pistol is okay. That's why a pistol is okay. Because it's less effective. The rule, he said, makes clear that firearm manufacturers, dealers, and individuals cannot evade the important public safety protections passed by Congress simply by adding accessories to pistols that transform them into short-barreled rifles. The DOJ announcement sparked immediate backlash from some Republicans, including West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. Morrisey argued in a statement that the egregious rule makes it harder for senior citizens and people with disabilities to defend themselves. He's not wrong. I mean, that's like a big thing with like the talk about like AR-15s and stuff like that. Like AR-15s actually make it easier for like people with weak arms who can't like hold, Because, I mean, if you've ever gone shooting with a pistol, I mean, your arms get tired after a while of just, like, standing like that. So something like that, it's a little more comfortable and easier for people like senior citizens or people with disabilities, you know. Adding that his office was evaluating our legal options. So, yeah, people are definitely going to be fighting against this. I don't doubt that, because this is just absolute nonsense. According to the Justice Department, manufacturer, dealers, and individual gun owners have 120 days to register tax-free any existing short-barreled rifles covered by the law. Do you guys remember the picture I showed earlier? What can happen when you register your firearms? Do not comply. They can also remove the stabilizing brace or surrendered covered short-barreled rifles to the ATF. The department said.
Surrender.
So just you know, turn it in. I'm sure they'll give you like a check or something, you know. I mean, gun buybacks are not anything new. It worked out really well for Australia. Worked really well for them. They had a great time after they did their major gun buyback program. Nothing bad happened afterwards. I mean, there wasn't an increase in like violent crimes or anything like that. An armed populace is a peaceful populace.
Oh, I bet all these criminals are just waiting.
Oh, definitely. They're probably reading this and they're like, "What? They're making it easier for me? That's great."
Yeah. I'm about to rob everybody with my illegal gun that I got.
This rule enhances public safety and helps ensure compliance with the firearm laws that Congress passed almost a century ago. Dettelbach said on the call. The rule makes clear, Dettelbach said, that when pistols are accessorized with certain stabilizing braces, those pistols are converted into rifles and should be treated as short-barreled rifles under the law.
So it's basically, now it's a pistol, now it's a rifle.
Yeah.
Now it's a pistol, now it's a rifle. Pistol, rifle, rifle, pistol.
Just make your stabilizing braces out of wood. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't ban wood. I mean,
good luck buying wood right now.
No doubt. I think the prices are coming down a little bit. I doubt it, but I don't know. I haven't
been to check, but I know the last time I went to buy a 2x4, it was like $9 a 2x4.
Yeah. When they used to
and
be
that was
like
untreated.
$2. When they used to be like $2. It's
$1.89 was the last time that I really bought one in bulk, and they were $1.89 a piece.
I wasn't planning on talking about it, but since we're like on this topic, I did read an article that I think I was telling Charlie a bit about that. We've been talking about how we're like in the midst of like a recession and possibly sinking into a depression. But you know, the White House and like all these government officials and all these news outlets have been saying, no, that's just crazy. This is like normal and everything like that.
That's right-wing talk.
That whole conspiracy theory. But I just read something from Yahoo Finance where they're talking to people at the World Economic Forum. And those people are starting to say that, yeah, we could be in a recession right now. It's a possibility. And they're like, oh, well, they wouldn't lie to us. Freaking globalist. Let's get back to it. Get back on topic. Restrictions on stabilizing braces have been hotly debated after they were proposed by the ATF in 2020, when the Bureau suggested a new rule that would regulate pistol braces under the NFA. Seriously, just get rid of that NFA. I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't even like reading those three letters. Like if they come like into any like closeness, I don't like it. Like even AFN, FAN, like I don't like saying fan. I don't even like saying the word fan. The 2020 proposal sparked a major backlash from the groups such as the National Rifles Association, the NRA. Like I said, they'll do a whole lot of, but they won't do shit. Republican lawmakers also spoke out against the proposal and sent a letter to then Attorney General William Barr saying that the proposed regulation was alarming and jeopardizes law-abiding gun owners across the country. The ATF withdrew the proposed regulation after the letter was released. These requirements are important public safety measures because they regulate the transfer of these dangerous weapons. Well, if a weapon isn't dangerous, it's like really ineffective.
Not really a weapon.
Just saying. Just give us squirt guns. We'll fight it out like that. That's how we'll just handle this. Like, just replace all firearms with squirt guns. Then
and I'll be carrying a lighter and gasoline filled. Yeah.
Okay, and help ensure they do not end up in the wrong hands. I mean, that's
pepper spray.
That statement right there could be really subjective. Like, I mean, the wrong hands could be like interpreted like any way. Like, I mean, maybe my hands are the wrong hands. You know, the Justice Department said at the time,
yes,
these are wrong hands.
Yes.
The proposed rule would clarify when these attached accessories convert pistols into weapons covered by these heightened regulations. Thanks, guys. That was a wonderful read. Wonderful read. Hey, let's take a look at this.
The day we gather with friends and family to enjoy turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie. We throw on the game, catch up on our lives, and then discuss, or quite possibly argue, about religion and politics. For millions of Americans, it's a day of cherished traditions. And as Americans, we certainly value those traditions. But it's also important to unpack the myth of Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Yeah, you know. Just all that stuff.
Wow.
Wow, I really should have had a little bit more to say because we're only at 47 minutes.
Well, what the frick?
Here, let me look something up real quick.
Like I said before, I don't own a lot of guns, and I've been thinking about buying one, honestly, because of all the shit that's been going on. I've been thinking about buying one just so I have one, because I don't like the way this nation is going, and I don't think it's going to turn around.
Ooh,
I've even been talking to my kids about preparation,
Ooh, hey, let's read the ATF's Gun Control Act. If this thing will zoom in. There it goes. Come on, a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. See what straight from the ATF.gov rules and regulations. Gun Control
I like
Act.
the picture.
So do I. It looks really nice. That was a good choice of them. Gun Control Act of 1968. This legislation regulated interstate and foreign commerce in firearms, including importation, prohibited persons, and licensing provisions. Assassinations and gun control. After the assassinations of President John Kennedy, CIA, Attorney General Robert Kennedy, CIA, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., again, CIA, the Gun Control Act is passed and imposes stricter licensing and regulations on the firearms industry. Huh. Makes you think. Weird. Okay.
I'm actually looking it up.
Establishes new categories for firearms offenses and prohibits the sale of firearms and ammunition to felons and certain other prohibited persons. Well, what are those certain other prohibited persons? Like, I mean, I can see where, like, the whole, like, felon thing comes in, but, like, I mean, who are those other prohibited persons? Okay, so it also imposes the first federal jurisdiction over destructive devices, including bombs, mines, grenades, and other similar devices. Congress reorganizes ATU into the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax Division, ATTD, and delegates them to the enforcement of the Gun Control Act. Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Oh, this is just a big old thing. I don't think I want to read all that. How many pages is that? Jeez! 32 pages. Yeah, no, we're not going to get into all that. Let's see. Oh, hey, let's read about the National Firearms Act. Okay, so the NFA was originally enacted in 1934. Similar to the current NFA, the original act imposed a tax on the making and transfer of firearms defined by the act, as well as a special occupational tax on persons and entities engaged in the business of importing, manufacturing, and dealing in NFA firearms. The law also required the registration of all NFA firearms with the Secretary of Treasury. Firearms subject to the 1934 Act included shotguns and rifles having barrels less than 18 inches in length, certain firearms described as any other weapons, machine guns, and firearm mufflers and silencers. So that's a bit what the NFA is. While the NFA was enacted by Congress as an exercise of its authority to tax, the NFA had an underlying purpose unrelated to revenue collection. As the legislative history of the law discloses, its underlying purpose was to curtail, if not prohibit, transactions in NFA firearms. You know, sounds a bit unconstitutional. We don't like these guns, so you can't have them. And we're going to so like this whole like new way they try to slip these things in isn't nothing new. I mean, the original NFA was enacted back in 1934. Government has just been doing this forever. Congress found these firearms to pose a significant crime problem because of their frequent use in crime, particularly the gangland crimes of that era, such as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The $200 making and transfer taxes on most NFA firearms were considered quite severe and adequate to carry out Congress's purpose to discourage or eliminate transactions in these firearms. You know, kind of like what I was talking about that they were trying to do with AR-15s by increasing the tax on it tenfold, so it was just way too expensive for anybody to buy.
Not feasible to buy, yeah.
Yeah, because you got to think, like, $200 back in the 30s was like probably like $2,000 these days.
It was like a paycheck, pretty much.
The $200 tax has not changed since 1934. I don't necessarily believe that. Okay, so as structured in 1934, the NFA imposed a duty on persons transferring NFA firearms, as well as mere processors of unregistered firearms, to register them with the Secretary of Treasury. If the possessor of an unregistered firearm applied to register the firearm as required by the NFA, the Treasury Department could supply information to state authorities about the registrant's possession of the firearm. State authorities could then use the information to prosecute the persons whose possession violated state laws. For these reasons, the Supreme Court in 1968 held in the Haynes case that a person prosecuted for possessing an unregistered NFA firearm had a valid defense to the prosecution. The registration requirement imposed on the possessor of an unregistered firearm violated the possessor's privilege from self-incrimination under the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The Haynes decision made the 1934 Act virtually unenforceable. But what did they do after that? Got a little smarter. Title II of the Gun Control Act in 1968. Title II amended the NFA to cure the constitutional flaw pointed out in Hayes. See, they got smarter. First, the requirement for possessors of unregistered firearms to register was removed. Indeed, under the amended law, there is no mechanism for a possessor to register an unregistered NFA firearm already possessed by the person. Second, a provision was added to the law prohibiting the use of any information from the NFA application or registration as evidence against a person in a criminal proceeding with respect to a violation of law occurring prior to or concurrently with the filing of the application or registration. In 1971, the Supreme Court re-examined the NFA in the Freed case and found that the 1968 amendments cured the constitutional defect in the original NFA. What about the Second Amendment? Like, yeah, they fixed the whole Fifth Amendment problem, but I mean, what about that Second Amendment? Title II also amended the NFA definitions of firearms by adding destructive devices, bombs, and expanding the definition of machine gun. Firearm Owners Protection Act. In 1986, this act amended the NFA definition of silencer by adding combination of parts for silencers and any part intended for the use in the assembly or fabrication of a silencer. The act also amended the GCA to prohibit the transfer or possession of machine guns. Exceptions were made for transfers of machine guns to or possession of machine guns by government agencies and those lawfully possessed before the effective date of the prohibition, May 19th, 1986. So yeah, if your machine gun was made before that date, it's completely legal. Anything after that, though, only the government can own it. Ain't that just nice?
What if it's refurbished? Does it still count from a gun from 1968 or before?
That's a really good question. I'm sure you probably want to be able to buy any parts for it.
Well, I know a few people that I've met throughout my life that actually can manipulate guns on their own. They don't need, like, I know a guy that's got a shop all set up to make his own ammunition, bore his own barrels, everything.
Oh yeah. And now they have 3D printers, which that's becoming like that's becoming a lot better in like the gun making industry for like just citizens who want to make their own guns. But that's creating a whole list of problems for the government, and they're starting to come after that. They're going to be banning 3D printers because you might make a gun with it.
And that's sad, too, because I know quite a few people that actually make money doing that. Not making guns, but 3D printing and selling shit.
Mm-hmm.
I know a buddy of mine that makes dice for dice games and shit like that through 3D printing.
No doubt. I mean, it's just like there's no reasonable explanation as to why that they do the things that they do. They say that it's making us safer, but are we really safer? I mean, what has any of this stuff done to curb the gun violence that has been plaguing our country? I sincerely do not.
If you get rid of the legal guns, it is not going to prevent people from getting illegal guns.
I don't
so
even
just
like
that picture you showed in the beginning, just that picture you showed in the beginning that showed the guy with a gun and then the criminal with a gun, and not that one.
Yeah.
A little cartoony one. And then it showed the picture next to it. Yeah, that.
That one right there.
Now that guy on the right in the after picture is going to die.
Yeah.
Because he's got no way to defend himself against this dumbass that somehow obtained a gun illegally.
Probably stolen.
I only predict gun violence getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the only thing that keeps some of these people from some of these people are just like, fuck it, I'm going out there, I'm gonna start shooting people.
I mean, and like people have other ways. Like, I mean, anybody can get a car.
Well, look at Dexter. You ever seen the show Dexter?
I don't think I have.
There's people like that just murder people. You know what I mean? They don't need no gun.
The UK.
They fucking stick them with a chemical and make them knock out, and then they drag them somewhere where they can fucking kill them and torture them or rape them or whatever they want to do.
Well, I know a while ago the UK was trying to ban the sale of knives in stores.
You know what we need to ban? We need to ban our government from doing scientific experiments trying to make super soldiers, because this is what keeps littering our country with drugs. And then they blame it on the drug addicts. No, motherfuckers, you got them addicted to it.
I mean, in a sense, I mean they still had to try it out. I mean, we're in a day and age where like none of these drugs are unknown, and like we know that heroin is bad for you, crack is bad for you, but people still like decide, well, I'll just do a little bit. I won't get addicted. I'm not like those degenerates.
Everybody is like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen so many people just destroy their lives. Not even physically. I'm saying like financially and emotionally, and mentally. They just destroy their life, Not even including the health detriments that you get from doing this shit. It just destroys you completely. You want to spend every dime that you get on getting more. You will have no qualms with hurting or robbing somebody to get more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And these are all manufactured drugs that the government's made trying to make super soldiers. War. Greed. You know what I mean? Like it all rolls down to the same fucking shit pile.
Yeah.
And it's a sad day in our world these days, That's why, like I said, I've been talking to my kids about preparation, man. We got to be ready for when this country really decides to go ape shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've been thinking about selling my house and moving out into the mountains. At least I'll have high ground.
True. Too bad we live in a very flat area. Like I would like to stay in this general area, but
I wouldn't.
I would.
It's getting bad around here.
Well,
I'd rather
not
go to
like
Tennessee or Kentucky or something, where they still believe in the rights.
I mean, you got your issues there. I mean, we got I do want to eventually cover some of the new legislation that is coming out from like our state legislators, because I've been seeing like some new bills that they're proposing. Like they do have a bill coming out. I believe that there's supposed to be a bill coming out. I covered this a little bit a few episodes ago, but there's rumors of a "Don't Say Gay" bill coming out from the Republicans in Indiana. Gay.
Let's just say I'm super gay.
Beta. And I mean, honestly, like I said in that episode, like if a bill does come out like that, I will absolutely totally support it and tell them to go even further with it, because what Florida did was prevent the teaching of like sexuality and all that stuff from kindergarten to third grade. Like I think it should go further.
And I've said this in other episodes that I don't think sexuality or sexual orientation or gentrification, whatever you want to fucking put it as, does not belong in our school systems whatsoever.
Nope.
That is for somebody to figure out when they leave school.
Mm-hmm.
When they get it out of the real world, then they can start seeing who they want to date, who they want to fuck, and everything like that. Up until that point, there should be no education on, I think there should be health education to explain how reproduction works, and how our nervous systems work, but there's no need to involve sex to it.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? That should be a short stint. Okay, so the male and the female get together, he inserts his thing, they inseminate an egg, boom, there's a baby. But everything else should be about nervous systems, circulatory systems.
Thank you for that image.
Learning about your body, not sexuality.
Man, Charlie, you should become a teacher.
Shut up.
No, but there was another bill that I was kind of reading this morning, but something about like data privacy and all that stuff, like protecting you while you're online. And like I hope they take it to the point, because there are some states that are coming out against like the big tech censorship, and like they're like, no, like if they're in this state, like you can't violate their First Amendment rights. They should be able to say what they want to say, no matter how badly it offends you.
Well, the problem with that is that these platforms that people use, it's just like a job. They have the right to accept or deny you to use their program.
But see,
and if they're on board with agendas and shit, they're not going to let you. So like fucking how many times we've been banned from TikTok? How many times we've been banned from YouTube?
Well, we're permanently banned from TikTok. We can't ever go back on there.
Fuck TikTok. Show it.
Off.
You should show it. Piss on TikTok.
Where do I have it? I got the piss off YouTube and the piss off TikTok. Yeah. I found it. But no, I mean, like you do have a point, and like private companies should be able to hold that right. But it's when what we've been coming to find out, the government having a role in what these social media platforms are doing, that's completely unconstitutional. So now, a company should be able to say, hey, I don't like you and I don't want you on my platform, but the government can't do that. That's where the freedom of speech comes in. It's the government can't silence me.
Is that these platforms, they may not be controlled by the government, but they believe in the government's policies.
Some of them are controlled by the government.
Well, I'm sure they are. Like, I think Facebook is starting to head towards that way. You know what I mean? And Twitter, I think, is probably pretty thickly entwined with our government and shit too.
Well, I mean, with Elon owning it now, I don't know. I don't trust Elon. I don't like him too much.
I don't either.
I do think that he is going to create Skynet, and we're all going to die in a hail of bullets by Terminators. But I don't know.
I don't necessarily think it's going to be like a Terminator situation like that, because
exactly like
I fully think that robots would be above bullets.
Lasers?
Because no.
Sharks
not
with
even like
lasers on their heads.
A robot, the way we're trying to make them, has every capability of integrating itself into a human community. And then with the strength that an android would have, and yes, I'm using the word android, they could just snap necks.
Android?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm serious. Like, they don't need guns, and I don't think that they would view guns as necessary, because we are a fragile species. They could punch us in the chest and put a hole through us. They could snap our necks. They could move fast. They have a computer calculation in their brain, so they can. It's it's kind of like iRobot. You remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that. They made these robots for the greater good, but then the computer itself took over. I don't know how much you know about that or remember about that movie, but the dude that killed himself, jumped out the window. That was his only option, and he wasn't even killed. He didn't even jump. He was thrown by the robot. You know what I mean? Like, come on, people. There's been all kinds of movies that have come out, and I know, that's just a movie and shit. But you know what? My firm belief that I've seen and noticed in movies, not everything in a movie you can take as proof, but I mean, everything that has happened in movies comes to fruition at some point. You know what I mean? Like Star Wars, everybody thought that shit would never happen, and now we're actually coming out with tractor beams, and it's all based on sound. Did you know that? Tractor beams based on sound, just through the reverberation of sound, can actually manipulate airwaves.
Did you know that nobody was talking about alien abductions until it was seen in a movie?
No, I didn't know that, and I very seriously doubt that, because they've been talking about alien depictions and abductions and shit like that since before movies.
Yeah, but they didn't call it aliens.
Whatever.
I'm just saying, MK Ultra, or not MK Ultra. That was Operation Mockingbird.
I don't give a shit what anybody's opinion is on it. I think anybody that thinks that there is not aliens and in this vast universe that we live in, they would be extremely naive to think that we are the only intelligent life forms.
All these solar systems.
Several solar systems, you know?
Systems for
There's
solars.
millions of them out there. There's ones we can't even reach. You know, we've barely, gotten to the end of our galaxy, let alone others.
How do you know?
Oh, my God. Because I like to watch science, and I like to watch things like that.
Science.
And
Science
you can
that
say
is
it's
true.
propaganda, and they're pushing shit down my throat to make me believe this shit. But again,
that's exactly
you are
what it is.
extremely naive as a human being to believe that we are the only intelligent life forms in this vast area that we have barely been able to explore.
So how do
And
we
if
know
you
it's so
sit
vast?
here and try and tell me that space is not real, I swear on everything, Ricky, I will slap the shit out of you Monday.
Dude, it's literally just like. Didn't you ever see the movie The Truman
So what
Show?
you're saying is you're
The
getting
Truman
slapped
Show.
Monday.
The Truman Show.
You're getting
I know
slapped
you've
Monday.
seen it. That's exactly how it is.
No.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of panels above us. There's not actually any stars or clouds or anything like that. Every once in a while, they turn on a sprinkler system and it
So what
starts.
you're saying is Friday was your last day of not getting slapped. You get one every day now.
Sweet. It's character building. I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds weird. Let's go ahead and run that ad, and we're gonna shut this thing down.
Don't worry, I'll wake you up.
Oh, thanks. Couple of Hoosiers podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast. We live stream on YouTube and upload to Odysee and Rumble. If you want to get everything all in one place, though, go to coupleofhoosiers.com. I write blogs for all the episodes, and I make some memes every once in a while. Check them out. Also, R&M Kurtz Woodworks. Me and my wife own a little woodworking company, and you can find us on Facebook or get a hold of us at our email down there at the bottom, r.m.kurtz.woodworks@gmail.com. It's good stuff. And honestly, with the website, how I say, like, I write blogs for all the episodes. I haven't been writing them lately.
So why are you lying to people then?
I don't know. I just thought about that, and I had to make a little confession. I don't see a whole lot of interaction with them, but I don't know. Maybe eventually I'll start writing them again. If people like go there and like see what I've written and they like it, I might start up again. But not just gonna. Yeah.
Banned.
You're fired.
I mean, come on, man.
Come on.
How many push-ups we gonna do here, pal?
All right, guys.
I'm just gonna put it out there. I will never join a fuck pile just because somebody starts taking our jobs. That's that episode you keep referring to.
Yeah, but I just never do.
I know you would,
No.
but I'm just not going to join you.
What magic wand do you have?
I hope he is wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
But all right, guys, that's been the episode. There was some pretty good information in there, and then we started just jumping into rabbit holes here at the end. So hopefully you enjoyed it.
I like rabbit holes.
I do like rabbit holes.
I like Bugs Bunny.
What's up, Doc?
He's a good guy.
Good guy. I like him. I like him.
This is bullying.
What? What are you talking about, bud? But we're gonna go ahead and cut the feed and get on with our lives and go do some cool stuff. So you guys have a good weekend. See you guys next Thursday and all that good stuff. Take it easy.
Enjoy it and be safe.
Well, being safe is no fun.
Enjoy it and be safe, except for Ricky.
See you guys later. Bye.